Welcome back to our channel, where we uncover the most inspiring stories from the era of Jahiliya. Today we're exploring the lives of four remarkable men from the Quraysh tribe who broke away from the polytheism of Mecca before the advent of Islam. These men stood apart from their people and culture, seeking truth and questioning the practices of idol worship. Who were they, and what made them so extraordinary? Stay tuned as we dive deep into their incredible journeys. Long before Islam came to the Arabian Peninsula, there were men who felt the call of something greater, a belief in the one God, a concept foreign to the society in which they lived. These individuals in pre-Islamic Arabia were known as Hanifs. These were people who rejected the prevalent polytheism and idol worship of the time and instead adhered to a monotheistic belief in the worship of one God, much like the Abrahamic tradition. Hanif means one who rejects false gods. Although the Hanifs were not formally part of any organized religion like Judaism or Christianity, they believed in following the spiritual legacy of the prophet Ibrahim, who is considered a key figure in monotheism. The Hanifs believed in a single God and rejected the polytheistic practices of most Arab tribes who worshipped many deities and idols. They claimed to follow the religion of HANIFIYA, or the religion of Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, whom they saw as a model of pure monotheism and the first Hanif. HANIFIYA is seen as a remnant or echo of Prophet Ibrahim's religion, sustained through time by individuals who sought to reject the idolatry prevalent in Arabian society. Among the Quraysh in Mecca, four men questioned the very foundation of the prevalent belief system of their people. One day, when the Quraysh had assembled on a feast day to venerate and circumambulate the idol to which they offered sacrifices, this being a feast which they held annually, four men drew apart secretly and agreed to keep their counsel in the bonds of friendship. These four individuals were from the elite Meccan aristocracy. They belonged to powerful Meccan families. They were men of nobility, belonging to the respected Quraysh tribe. Each of them took a different path in life, but they shared a common mission to seek the true religion of Ibrahim and abandon the falsehoods of idol worship. These men were of the opinion that their people had corrupted the religion of their father Ibrahim, and the stone they went around was of no use. It could neither hear nor see, nor hurt nor help. "Find for yourself a religion," they said, "or by God you have none. By God you know that your people are doing nothing but worshipping idols, incapable of doing any harm or good." These four men broke away from the polytheistic practices of their people. They went their different ways in the lands, seeking HANIFIYA, the monotheistic way of Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him. These four men were Zade Bin Amar, Uthman bin AlHuWayrith, WARAQA bin NAUFAL, and Ubaidullah bin Jahsh. None in this group was more honorable in deed and more dedicated than Zade bin Amr bin Naufal. He was a member of the noble Quraysh tribe. He was born into a prominent family, with his father, Amr bin Naufal, being well regarded within the tribe. Zayd was a cousin of Umar ibn al-Khattab, who would later become the second caliph of Islam. Zade bin Amr gave up the worship of idols and abandoned the religion of the Quraysh. He was known to publicly reject idol worship and believed that the true path was the worship of one God. Zayd would stand near the Kabba and openly criticize the idol worship practiced by his people, saying, "I do not worship Al-Lat and Al-Uzza, nor do I worship any idols. I worship only the Lord of Abraham." In defiance of Meccan customs, he refused to eat meat sacrificed to idols, famously saying, "I do not eat what you slaughter on your stone altars, nor do I eat except that on which the name of Allah alone has been mentioned at the time of slaughter." It is reported that Zayd said while leaning back against the Kaaba, O tribe of Quraysh, by him in whose hands is Zade's soul, not one of you apart from myself follows the religion of Ibrahim. Moreover, he would say, O God, if only I knew the way most favored by you, I would worship you by it, but I do not know. Also, he would bow in prayer while on his mount. He also spoke out against the pre-Islamic practice of female infanticide, where daughters were buried alive out of shame or fear of poverty. He is said to have rescued infant girls who were at risk of being buried alive. Zade would pray towards the Kabba and say, "My God is the God of Ibrahim, and my religion is that of Ibrahim." He would give life back to girls about to be killed at birth. Telling a man wishing to kill his daughter, "Don't kill her, give her to me to look after. When she grows up, you can take her back, or if you wish, give her up." Then he would take the girl away. When she grew up, he would bring the girl back to the father and tell the father, "If you like, I'll either return her to you or you provide for her." Zade was an opponent of the Quraysh, slaughtering their animals to idols. He would criticize Quraysh, saying sheep were created by God, and he brings down from the skies the water that makes vegetation grow for them from the earth. So why do you slaughter your beasts in the name of gods other than God? You deny God and venerate idols. Zade's belief set him at odds with his people, and he was frequently ostracized for it. He spoke of the unity of God alone and cast aside the gods beneath him, and warned Quraysh of the judgment they would suffer for the practices they followed. The Quraysh persecuted Zade for his public opposition to their customs. Zade eventually left for the heights of Mecca to save himself from this persecution. The Quraysh assigned a group of young Quraysh thugs to watch him and told them not to let him enter Mecca. He never did so without their knowledge, and when they found out, they harmed him and evicted him violently. The Quraysh hated that he should spoil their religion for them or get others to join him in his own practices. Finally, Zade decided to leave Mecca and travel across the land, seeking the religion of Ibrahim. This led him to travel outside of Arabia, far and wide, searching for the pure religion of Ibrahim among the people of the first holy book, that is, the Jews. He traveled to Al-Mosul and all of Mesopotamia. Then he went through all of Syria. Zade met with Jewish and Christian scholars, engaging in discussions about their religions and their scriptures. He sought to understand the core tenets of monotheism and to identify the true path to God. Finally, when Zade had reached Syria, which was part of the Byzantine Empire and home to many Christian and Jewish communities, he came across a monk in a church in the region of Balka who had, as they claim, much learned in Christianity. The monk asked him, "Where have you traveled from, O camel master?" "From Ibrahim's building," he replied. "What are you seeking?" then asked the monk. "I'm seeking the religion of Ibrahim." Zade answered and told him about his dissatisfaction with Christianity and Judaism and how his people had alienated him for his dislike of idol worship. Then he asked him about the HANIFIYA, the religion of Ibrahim. The monk told him, "You are asking about a religion you will no longer find anyone today to instruct you in. Those who had knowledge and familiarity with it have faded away and gone. I see that you desire the religion of Ibrahim, O brother from the people of Mecca." Ibrahim was a Hanif, neither a Jew nor a Christian. He prayed and prostrated himself in the direction of that house which is in your land. The monk continued, "The emergence of a prophet draws near, his time having come. You must go back to your own country where God will send from your people in your land one who will bring back the religion of Ibrahim, the HANIFIYA. He will be most noble of creation in God's sight." Having considered the statements of the Christian monk about Ibrahim's religion, Zade went outside, and when he was in the open country, he raised his hands and said, "O God, I testify that I follow the religion of Ibrahim. After his journey to Syria, Zade returned to Mecca, where he continued to live according to his monotheistic beliefs. He developed his own form of worship, which included praying to the one God and adhering to a moral code that emphasized justice, kindness, and monotheism. Zade was ahead of his time, worshipping only one God and calling on his people to return to the original faith of Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him. Zade would also perform the pilgrimage and station himself on Mount Arafat. He would also make the pilgrimage call saying, "Labbaik, at your service, there is no partner to you nor any peer." Then he would leave Arafat walking and praying, saying, "Labbaik, at your service in worship and submission." Many traditions have reported Zade Bin Amar saying, "I'm waiting for a prophet who will come from the progeny of Ismail, then from the tribe of Abdul Muttalib. I do not see myself living in his time, but I have faith in him, assert his truthfulness, and testify that he is a prophet. If you live on a long time and see him, then tell him of my greetings to him. I will inform you of his qualities, so that he will not be unknown to you. He will be a man neither tall nor short, with neither much nor little hair. Redness is never absent from his eye. He bears the mark of prophethood between his shoulders. His name is Ahmed, and this country will be the place of his birth and mission. His people will expel him from it and will disapprove of his message until he migrates to Yathrib, and so his authority will appear. Take care that you are not deceived about him, for I have travelled all over seeking the religion of Ibrahim." And those of the Jews, Christians and Magians to whom I inquired answered, "That religion is behind you, and they will describe him as I have described him to you." It is reported that Zade Bin Amar died while the Quraysh were building the Kabba 5 years before the divine inspiration descended upon Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and death came to him while he spoke the words, "I follow the religion of Ibrahim." Zade's greetings were passed on to the Prophet by those who Zade had directed to do so. The Prophet returned these greetings to him and prayed for him, saying, "I have seen him in paradise in long, flowing robes." It is also reported that the Prophet, peace be upon him, stated that Zade would be resurrected on the Day of Judgment as a nation unto himself, a testament to his unique position as a monotheist in a time of widespread idolatry. Zade's influence extended to his family, with his son, Zade bin Zade, becoming one of the earliest converts to Islam. He was a very close companion of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and one of the 10 Ashram Mubashara, 10 companions of the Prophet who were promised paradise. Uthman bin AlHuWayrith was another member of this small circle of seekers. His family ties placed him among the elite of Meccan society. He belonged to the Banu Asad clan of Quraysh. Like many in Mecca, they were primarily involved in trade and commerce. He was also a man with significant political ambitions. His desire to change the power structure in Mecca and to place himself in a position of authority played a crucial role in his later actions. He hoped to gain the Byzantine Empire's backing to establish himself as a leader in Mecca. Uthman travelled to Byzantium, seeking support from the Christian rulers there. He converted to Christianity in the Byzantium court. Uthman bin AlHuWayrith believed he could become the ruler of Mecca by leveraging his connections with the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantines, who were keen to expand their influence in Arabia, saw potential in supporting someone from the prominent Quraysh tribe, which controlled Mecca. Uthman presented himself as a potential ally, offering to introduce Christianity as the official religion of the city in return for their support. He assumed that Meccan society, with enough pressure and the backing of a major Christian empire, might shift towards his new faith. He had hoped that the social and economic benefits from a strong Byzantine alliance would make Christianity an appealing alternative in the city. Uthman's efforts were successful. The Byzantine Emperor Heraclius reportedly supported Uthman's claim to leadership in Mecca, appointing him as a vassal or governor under Byzantine protection. Uthman returned to Mecca with the aim of assuming control of the city. Uthman believed he could intimidate his opposition in Mecca. He declared himself a sort of king, a move that was unprecedented in the city's history, as Mecca traditionally operated under tribal governance without a centralized monarchy. The Quraysh valued their independence and were wary of foreign influence. They were particularly hostile to the idea of a Byzantine-aligned Christian king, as this threatened their religious traditions and political autonomy. Uthman's association with the Byzantine Empire and his proposal to introduce Christianity as the official religion represented a direct challenge to their traditional ways and an attempt to bring foreign influence into their sacred city. The Quraysh's resistance proved too strong, and Uthman was unable to consolidate his power in Mecca. His attempt to claim kingship ultimately failed, and he was unable to secure a lasting position of authority in Mecca. He was forced to leave Mecca. After his failed attempt to rule Mecca, Uthman bin AlHuwayrith's historical records become sparse. It is believed that he returned to the Byzantine Empire, where he lived the remainder of his life under the protection of the Byzantines. It is also believed that the Byzantines gave him a high office. He is reported to have died 3 years before the mission of Islam. WARAQA bin NAUFAL, the third person from this group of seekers. He was a member of one of the most influential tribes in Mecca. His father, Uthman bin Asad, was a well-known figure in the tribe, and WARAQA inherited a position of respect and influence within Quraysh society. WARAQA bin Naufal became a Christian scholar with a significant understanding of Christian scriptures and theology. His knowledge of the Bible, particularly the Old and New Testaments, made him a respected figure among those who sought to learn about Christianity in pre-Islamic Arabia. WARAQA's expertise in these religious texts provided him with a unique perspective on the monotheistic beliefs that were emerging in the region. WARAQA's alignment with Hanif's beliefs was evident in his rejection of the prevalent polytheistic practices of the Quraysh tribe. When Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, received his first revelation from the angel Gabriel in the cave of Hira, he was deeply troubled and uncertain about the nature of the experience. In his moment of distress, Muhammad, peace be upon him, turned to his wife Khadija, who sought the counsel of WARAQA, who was a cousin of Khadija. Upon meeting the Prophet and hearing about the revelation, WARAQA confirmed the authenticity of the experience. He recognized the signs of prophethood and the similarities between Prophet Muhammad's experience and the biblical accounts of previous prophets. WARAQA assured Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that he was indeed the recipient of divine revelation and that he was chosen to continue the prophetic tradition. WARAQA even predicted that the Prophet would face opposition from his people who would drive him out of Mecca, which eventually happened. Although he passed away soon after this encounter, many scholars regard WARAQA as one of the early supporters of Islam and a believer. He is considered a follower of HANIFIYA, the monotheistic tradition of Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him. Lastly, there was Ubaydullah ibn Jash. He went on searching Hanafiya until Islam came. Then he migrated with the Muslims to Abyssinia, taking with him his wife, who was a Muslim, Habiba, daughter of Abu Sufyan. When Ubaydullah arrived in Abyssinia, he adopted Christianity, parted from Islam, and died a Christian in Abyssinia. After his death, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, married his widow, Habiba. In a time shrouded in idolatry, these four men were guided by an inner light, a desire to connect with the Creator. Their journeys laid the groundwork for the coming of Islam, the final call to the pure monotheistic path that would transform Arabia and the world. The Hanif tradition was seen as a precursor to the message of the Prophet Muhammad. Islam viewed itself as a restoration of pure monotheism in the line of Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is said to have respected the Hanifs, and they were considered close to the truth. Islam, when it emerged, positioned itself as a return to the true and uncorrupted monotheism of Ibrahim. While the Hanifs are seen as closer to that ideal compared to the polytheistic Arab tribes, they lack the complete guidance of prophetic revelation that Islam claimed to restore through the Quran. The religion of Ibrahim was restored and completed through Islam. As we conclude part 11 of the Jahiliya series, the story of the four men of Quraysh serves as a poignant reminder that even in the darkest eras, there are those who seek truth above all else. These stories of descent and spiritual longing bring us closer to understanding the cultural and religious backdrop against which Islam emerged. In the next chapter, we will leave the heart of Mecca and venture north to the city of Yathrib, later known as Medina. Here, we will explore the relationships between Arab and Jewish tribes, their alliances, conflicts, and unique dynamics that shaped the city's identity before the arrival of Islam. How did these tribes coexist? What role did religion, politics, and trade play in their interactions? And how did their stories intertwine with the transformative mission of the Prophet Muhammad? Peace be upon him. Join us in part 12 as we uncover the intricate world of pre-Islamic Medina, a city on the brink of monumental change. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more inspiring content from pre-Islamic history of the era of Jahiliya. May peace and blessings be upon all of you.